Hi, everyone. Hello from the Lori Project. I'm Betina Bethlem from Born Witchy, logging in for your monthly collective tarot reading. I hope everyone's doing good. Shout out in the chat if you want to communicate with me as we go through. In case you're new to me, my name is Betina Bethlem, also known as Born Witchy. You can find me under either one out in the internet. And I'm here once a month with the Lori Project, offering a collective tarot reading. And the way it goes down is that we do a little sort of energy report at the beginning about what's going on astrologically to sort of just tune us into what we have available to us right now energetically. And then we do a quick little meditation so that we can all come into this present moment together. The present moment is the place from which we read tarot, and it's what tarot is always referring to. I always say that I am here to set the record straight on tarot. This deck of cards is not about telling your future. It's about working with you so that you can co-create the future that you imagine. It really puts a lot more agency in our hands than traditionally has been understood about tarot. I think it's just way more empowering to feel like we get to work with the universe on the things that unfold rather than just being kind of subject to it and victim to it. So we do a little meditation to get us into the present moment and to tune us into whatever question it is that we want to ask our higher selves through the cards today, because really this card deck is not just about co-creating with the universe. It's also about having a conversation with your higher self, which is the creator within you. And then I pull a few cards. I will ask you when it's time to pull cards to decide in advance whether card number 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4, I might do 4 today, has a message for you, and then I give you a reading for each one. And know that, no matter which card you pick, they all have a message for you. I will weave them together as we talk through the storytelling that the cards want to bring up today. And yeah, great to have you here. Oh, I see in the chat that some of my regulars are here. Great to see you. Hi, Elena. Hi, Karen. Hearts back to you. So in terms of energy vibes, I'm trying to think what was going on a month ago when we last chatted. I think that it's possible that Uranus had already moved into Gemini. So maybe we touched on that last time. But just by way of recap, there are some major things happening with the outer planets right now, which affects us personally, but also affects the collective because they're more kind of like generational shifts. So one of those, which happened, I would say about a month ago, was the move of the planet Uranus, which is the disruptor, the change maker, the innovator, the chaos agent. It moved out of the sign of Taurus, where it had been for the past 7 or so years, and into the sign of Gemini, which it will be for the next 7 or so years till 2033. So change-making disruption was happening in the realm of Taurus for this past period of 7 years. If you have Taurus in a significant place in your chart, whether that's your sun, your moon, your rising, your midheaven, your north node, any of those things, you might have felt that more deeply in terms of things shifting over the past 7 years, excuse me. And Taurus is a sign that really doesn't like to move or be disrupted. It's more fixed. It's more set in its ways. So there were a lot of sort of more structural, earthly sort of pentacles, if we use tarot language, things that were undergoing shifts over this past period. And certainly we see that in the way that a lot of things are changing materially on the world stage right now. It's moving into the sign of Gemini, or it has moved into the sign of Gemini, which is way more nimble with the change of Uranus. So maybe it's a bit of a friendlier place for it to be, but it's also a bit, it's like double chaos in a way. But I would guess this is going to bring shifts to the way that we communicate and things like that, since Gemini is such the communicator, such the wit, such the spreader of information. And, we can already sort of see how this is changing with AI and all of this, the way we think and the way we communicate is going through a massive change. So that's one big thing that is going on for us right now. And then the other one, which just happened today, is that our planet of Pluto, which has been moving through Aquarius, we are very much in the age of Aquarius now. That's That is a thing, and that's also going to create a lot of change over the next 20 years as we really establish ourselves into this new age. It's in Pluto, which is bringing a lot of transformation to technology, AI again, to humanity, humanitarianism. Aquarius is kind of like, it's both like the technologist and the innovator of the zodiac, but it's also the humanitarian. So the way that we relate as a common humanity is undergoing lots of shifts as well. And there's lots of ways we see this kind of flailing around in the news and things that are happening right now. It's a moment, like the astrology that's happening right now is basically very, very similar to how it was when the American and the French revolutions happened. So keep that in mind. It's a big revolution we are going through. Pluto is, yeah, it's going to be marching backwards from today until, I think it's until October or so. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's still around the fall of this year. So it's going through a period of review before it moves forward again towards the end of the year. So, Pluto brings, yeah, it's kind of like the death card in tarot. It brings some heaviness. It brings some necessary change. Death is also the rebirth. But from what I've heard, giving birth is not that easy. So if things feel a little heavy and challenging right now, like, know that we're all in it together, and it's, humanity is going through a necessary rebirth. I mean, I think we certainly need that in many ways. So just as context for what's going on, if you have any questions, feel free to pop. Oh, Karen number 2 here as well. Hi. And Sarah and Luke. Hey guys, welcome. Okay. So take a moment to just get comfy in your seat wherever you are. You can sit back, you can sit cross-legged, however you like to meditate. And we're just going to do a very brief little meditation. You can close your eyes. You can rest your hands, palms down. Put them on your legs, put them on your body, maybe put them on your belly and on your heart. Just make contact with yourself. I think when things are very tumultuous and changing with these Uranian and Plutonian energies, it's nice to just come back to the body and remember that you are here. Everything that you need, everything that you have is right here in the present moment. You are safe. So close your eyes and feel yourself safe and present and connected to yourself and to the earth, and start to take some nice deep breaths in and out through your nose, filling up that beautiful body of yours with energy, with life force, with air. And exhale, let it out. And we'll take 2 more breaths here together just to ground into this present moment, breathing in. And let it out. And 1 more round of breath, breathing in together. And exhale. And continue to breathe just on your own. And with your hands touching your body, check in with yourself. What's present with me right now? What do I want guidance on? What do I want to have a conversation with my higher self about today? And allow a question or a topic to arise within you. And take a moment to articulate it either in words or in a phrase or in a keyword, or maybe it's just a feeling or a vibe and you don't really need to put it into words, but just articulate some sort of intention that you are going to bring to our reading today. I'm going to do it too with you guys today. And for myself, I'm just as an example, I have a general question in my mind for my life, but I'm boiling it down to 1 word for myself today, which is the word focus. So if you want to try that, trying to get your question down to 1 word, that's sometimes a fun sort of challenge to feel like you're really connected to the essence of what you want to communicate with the cards about today. So also decide right now whether card number 1 2, 3, or 4 has a message for you. And I'm picking 4 cards today. I've been really into the 4-card pull lately. I don't know if it's like a 4 elements thing or it just feels kind of grounding to have 4, but that's been kind of my move lately. So yeah, pick your number, 1, 2, 3, or 4. I pulled 4 cards. Decide now, commit to it. The first one that pops to mind is the one that your intuition wants you to choose. And before we dive into those 4 cards, I did pick 2 extras. So we have a full 6-card reading today, which is nice. I picked 2 extras that are just a signifier for the group at large. We got lots of major arcana on the table today, which makes sense given what we were talking about at the beginning of this session about how there are big generational, archetypal movements happening for us as a humanity right now. And the 2 signifiers we have are the Magician card and the Reversed Devil. I feel like I have pulled the Devil for this group in the past before. So we've talked a bit about how that card isn't exactly always as it seems. But yeah, the Magician and the Reversed Devil are our signifiers before we jump into your individual card meanings. The Magician is our manifester. This card is, we described this card earlier in the meditation when I said, everything you need is within you right now. In this present moment, you have it all. The Magician manifests from the present moment, from the resources available at hand. So this is a great reminder that you're exactly where you need to be right now. We are all exactly where we need to be right now. You have everything you need to take the next baby step, even if the vision feels far away and is overwhelming and is going to take all kinds of resources and teams and money and blah, 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 things that you may not have yet. The Magician says, focus on the baby step and remember that you are always manifesting. And this Reversed Devil card, I kind of like seeing it reversed in this context because I think part of what we're manifesting is, using this Plutonian energy of Aquarius to allow this age of Aquarius to tip into the light side of the Aquarian energy versus the shadow side. Yes, we want to live in that humanitarian equal world that Aquarius can represent for us. No, we do not want to tip into the dissociated, not very connected, techosphere, inhuman feeling side of things. And I feel like that Reversed Devil is so much, I don't know, what pops to mind is Jeff Bezos and the Met Gala right now. Reversed Devil, we want to turn all of that on its head and manifest that a more humanitarian society that's equal and not so oligarchical and all of those things. So I think that's a nice little general message for us today. And we do that by showing up authentically in our everyday life. Something that's the scale of a Jeff Bezos or an Amazon is so big. We can't take that on by ourselves. But if we live in our authenticity and use that Magician card to manifest authentically with our highest self, each of us, blade of grass, we start to make that difference that we want to see in the world. So it really is our job and our responsibility to be very true to ourselves right now. So those are your 2 signifier cards. But if you pulled card number 1, you have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So this is an energy saying to stop being so careful, to stop planning it out so much, to be a little bit more bold and spontaneous, if that makes sense. The Knight of Pentacles, when it's right side up, is a very Virgo kind of energy. We love Virgo. Virgo is so great at really delving into routines and meticulousness and really perfecting things. And it's also the healer card in a way. But when it's reversed, it feels like it's touching a little bit on the shadow sides of Virgo of perfectionism and being a little bit too strategic versus being spontaneous. So whatever you asked today, if you got card number 1, I think the cards want you to be a little bit less coloring in the lines and a little bit more, let's throw spaghetti at the wall and just try it out. Let's not edit ourselves so much if we got card number 1. If you got card number 2, you have also a reversal and also a court card, but in your case, it's the reversed King of Swords. And so funny because we've been talking so much about Aquarius and this card. If Knight of Pentacles has to do with Virgo, the correspondence for King of Swords is Aquarius. So the King of Swords is all about mastery around the intellect. So kind of an interesting and similar message if you got card number 2, which is There's two ways to take it. One, either don't over rely on your intellect to figure this one out, whatever it is that your question was. If you're like noodling on it too much in your brain and it's getting kind of mentally stressful, try your other forms of intelligence, with which, if you've been with me on these calls in the past, you know that there are four. There's your emotional intelligence, there's your somatic intelligence, there's also your spiritual intelligence, the one that we're kind of communing with right now, of going beyond the veil, talking to your higher self, allowing your channel to open so you can get inspired. So that's one way to look at this if you got card number 2. The other way to look at it is that maybe you need more knowledge on something. Like maybe call a friend, ask an expert, like read a book on the subject, because again, we are dealing with the intellect in the suit of swords, and it is upside down. So either you're being asked to not over rely on your intellect to figure out this question and go to your other bodies, or if you need more information, go and get it from a master somewhere, even if it's just tuning into a podcast of someone you really respect on this subject, or calling a friend that's like done a really good job at the thing you figured out before. There might be something that you don't know that's going to help you get through that. The devil multiple times. Yeah. The devil's been showing up like crazy lately. And I think it's because I put a post on my Instagram on Born Witchy like a few weeks ago about how the devil, side note, is both the poison and the antidote right now. Like it's what's creating all this sort of decadence and sort of ugliness and greed that we see in the world right now. But it's also the antidote in the sense that we need to tap into our ability and our creativity to break the status quo, which is also an expression of the devil, to end that sort of poisonous side of it. So yeah, that card does keep showing up because I think it's very relevant to our time. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. If you picked card number 3, then you have the reversed Lovers. This is a card about relationships, starting with relationship to yourself. It's a very multidimensional card that reminds us that we are in relationship to all of life, to ourselves, to all of the people in our life, and everything is it's kind of like a hall of mirrors, and everything is reflecting information back to you. You've probably heard, this idea of like projection, and how like sometimes when we're in a relationship with someone, we project something onto them, which is actually something within ourselves. Like sometimes the thing we really admire in XYZ person over there is actually a sublimated part of ourself that we've been too scared to express, or we don't realize is within us, and all of that. Other side of the coin, like the thing we point the finger at in that person, like, I've judged them for being so like that. That projection is sometimes a sublimation of a part of our shadow, that we are something we've cast into the shadow that we actually need to take responsibility for ourselves. Like, if we're like judging about how gossipy that person is, maybe there's a gossip within us that we need to kind of look at, So that's what the Lovers card is about. And it's in reverse, which tells me, again, similar to that King of Swords card. So funny how they all end up weaving together. There's something that's not really being seen in the mirror. The Lovers card maybe wants you to look in the mirror a little bit more poignantly, or maybe from like almost like a third person vantage point. You can use that Aquarius energy of detachment to kind of be in the seat of the observer, maybe to look at the relationship that this card is bringing up, whether it's a relationship with a person, with yourself, with a situation, with a job, with a thing, with a habit, with an attachment. You have relationship to everything. Maybe go into the seat of the observer, imagine yourself outside of it and observe it from the place of your values, of the values you want to see exercised and displayed out into the world, and be like, is that in alignment? Is that not? Where can I be more in my integrity? All that kind of thing. So the Lovers reversed as card number 3 is asking you to observe your relationships and make sure you're in right relationship to things, that like you are in, that you feel like you're in your integrity. Sometimes with this card, it might be that something has kind of run its course for you. I'm not saying necessarily like so literally as a breakup, but sometimes we grow out of things. Like sometimes we've been attached to something or someone for a while out of like an older version of self that we've actually grown out of in some way. We've grown out of ourselves, and so we've grown out of that thing, and we need to kind of just not necessarily leave it and abandon it, but sometimes it's kind of a restructuring that needs to happen. So card number 3 is right sizing relationships with all things. Yeah. Okay. And card number 4 got the world. The world brings a sense of completion, and it's like seeing it. Actually, it's funny that the first card I pulled for us was the Magician, because there are, little teaching moment here. There are 22 cards in the major arcana, the big secrets. These are major arcana cards. This one, I feel like it's reversed or flipped with the camera. The Magician is number 1 and the world is 22. So that's the full journey. And we have the Fool, which marches along. It's 0 and it goes on the Fool's journey and it visits all the cards. But this is literally the narrative arc. This is the full spectrum. So we started talking about how the Magician is all about the present moment and harnessing all of the resources and things you have in the here and now to take the next baby step. The world is the sense of completion. It's like the whole collection of all the baby steps you took on the journey to get to that thing that you dreamt of. When you get to the world, you look around your life and you're like, oh my God, I have the thing. Like the thing that maybe I started working towards a decade ago or 5 years ago, or that I've been dreaming of since I was in high school or whatever. There's different timelines for things to manifest. Some things manifest very, very quickly. Some things take longer, like everything in divine timing. But if you got card number 4, there's some sort of sense of completion of the world that is either in its final stages or wants to be acknowledged. Like maybe it's a moment to sort of be like, to kind of do a little moment of review and be like, wow, I'm almost taking it for granted because I've been swimming in this oxygen lately, but wow, actually, like I manifested this, and allow that to build belief in the next stage, because that 22 takes us right back to the 1 and we move into the next thing that we want to create in our life. You can think of our life as kind of like this upward spiral where we're like, where our consciousness is going upwards and we're becoming better and better manifestors because we are clearing out our old karmas and becoming more refined and like our purpose and who we're meant to be in this life and who we want to be. And so we have these repeating Magician and world moments as we go up, often repeating patterns, repeating cast of characters coming through to help us learn our lessons and clear. And we get to stop by the world every once in a while. And when we do that, it's when we kind of really have some sort of accomplishment with something. So if you picked card number 4, I'm curious to know what that might be for you. It might be that you're like putting the finishing touches on something, or like your manifestation is very close, or maybe you're already looking around you and being like, wow, that thing was actually like a milestone accomplishment. And I should acknowledge that and maybe start thinking about what the next thing I want to see in my world is. You can think of this card as the world building card. I'll give you the example of this home. Like I moved in here 6 or 7 months ago, and it took me a while to kind of get it to look like the world I wanted to look like, to make this podcast tarot shooting salon look the way it did. It was like a journey of finding the right pieces of furniture and the right pieces of art and the right paint and Now I can look around and I'm like, oh, I have the world. So what's next? What do I want to put in it next? Do I want to put on my vision board that 2 years from now I want to have a bigger studio, or I want to move to a different apartment? So that's kind of how the world works. If that makes sense. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. But yeah, I love that whole arc of manifestation showed up in our reading. That feels like a nice, just kind of reminder for everyone as we walk through this human journey together that, you are a powerful creator, and you being in alignment and in right relationship to yourself and your life is the best way to kind of participate in this human community that we're in together. One thing I've been talking about a lot is how is the Justice card. It's another card that's been coming up a lot. And in my deck, it shows a beekeeper. And the Justice card is about there being a balanced ecosystem, which wouldn't we all love to live in a harmonious, balanced, happy ecosystem? Like, yes. How do we do that? By each of us staying in our lane, by each of us really peeling away any layers that we have between our soul and our authentic expression of ourselves, getting rid of people pleasing, getting rid of shame and things that make us think we're not allowed to be who we really are. And like in that peeling away, we really orient around what our soul really wants to do. And if everyone did that, the ecosystem would hum naturally because nature just kind of naturally does its thing. And as humans, we're very good at over relying on our intellect rather than remembering that we're part of a natural ecosystem. So I will leave you with that. We have a couple more minutes if anybody wants to chime in with which card they got or a clarifying question about it. Feel free to hit me up in the chat or to send me a message on Instagram on Born Witchy. Marvelous, Andrew, thank you. Okay, in the absence of questions, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I would like to share with you about these cards. Oh, Taylor, could you summarize the read as a whole? Yes. So let me take a look at this. I mean, I will say that the most, let's say, thing that's shouting the loudest about the reading is that there unusually are 4 out of the 6 cards are these majors. So looking just at these, I would say that we are in this, the cards are bringing up this process, this arc of magician to world, which is saying like that captures the entire book of the tarot, the entire book of life. That captures everything. It says this is getting from point A to point B with something. And I think that this reverse lovers and reverse devil are bringing in some color into how we get from point A to point B. And that's by being in really integrated and honest relationship with everything. So there is this sort of authenticity theme with these cards as well. So yeah, how we get to the world we imagine is by being in right relationship with things, and also with being in this devil cards, which I think that is adding on, saying that in order to be in right relationships, we need to be clear on our values, good values, that feel in integrity for us, and some of them might be feeling kind of black sheep to the broader culture. I think if you kind of look at the broader culture right now, at least I personally look at it, I look at something like the Met Gala, which happened a few days ago, and I'm like, oh my God, it looks like the Hunger Games. And that's not I do not want to live in a world that looks like the Hunger Games with like an oligarchy of kind of Capitol dwellers in crazy costumes, and then everyone else like scrounging around. I thought it was really interesting that the Amazon workers did their own fashion show that was kind of a reclaiming and literally talking about that. So I think this reading is kind of saying that like we have to be in integrity with the world that we want to be manifesting, and then orient all of our actions around that. And I think these last 2 cards, which are both representing aspects of self, are giving us ideas on how to do that in our day-to-day, because the minor arcana is all about the day-to-day, and it's reminding us to not be too cautious, not be too careful. We probably have to like we were saying with that devil card, like break with tradition a bit, do things differently and all of that, and not overly rely on ways of thinking or conventional forms of wisdom. Remembering that we have these other bodies that we can rely on to decide things. There is a big malfunction in thinking, in my view, in terms of how the world is being run. It's like actually completely illogical to humanity. And so I think this card is saying, like, in order for us to be the change that we want to see in the world, which is how I would summarize those first 4 cards, we have to change the way we're thinking about things, change the way we're doing things, and be a little bit more bold. Like, harness this Uranus energy that's now in Gemini, the planet of communication, and, in our each individual small way, work towards these bigger changes we want to see by starting with our personal life and letting that trickle out into our bigger communities, and knowing that if we all do that, if we all get in right relationship with ourselves and with the values we think are needed on a bigger scale, that eventually that bigger sea change shift starts to happen. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very philosophical reading, I think, but it's also very practical, and I really like how these minor arcana cards tell us that like the work really starts with us being honest with ourselves, and also with us not being too shy about who we really are. So I hope that that clarifies that. And thank you for being here. Oh, Elena got the world. Could this also be coming to terms with a situation? Yeah, it's you can boil that card down to the word completion, a sense of completion, a sense of just sort of like it's not like the death card where it's like this is done and we're clearing it out. It's kind of like I'm accepting that this is how things are. It's a card of very fixed energy. Um, which is why it takes us back to the magician, because if you want to change something about the world, like you have to change the way you have to manifest something new, even if that manifestation is like, you know what, I actually am just going to walk away from this world and go create another one. I hope that makes sense. Okay, thank you so much for those who came in late. I'm Betina Bethlem from Born Witchy with the Lori Project. There's a survey where you can leave feedback on how this went for you and questions and requests for next time. And I will see you in a month. And yeah, find me on socials if you have any questions. Bye, guys.